I'm not saying Bill Clinton's an evil guy. He's just the sort of guy who always volunteered to help you move. Then when you got four of you picking up the sofa, he's the one who'll fake lifting. Thank you. Wow. How you doing? You look good. Really good. What do you think of the new set, huh? No? Sort of a Philippe Stark does Stonehenge in the lobby of the Royalton, feng shui, futuristic Jane Jetson sings Won't You Come Home, Bill Spacely look. Dive right into it. Let's see who fed it and who ate it this week. Monday, longtime enemies Israel and Jordan signed a peace treaty. The historic treaty stipulates that all future rock throwing will be underhand. You know, there's been a rumor circulating this week that the Buffalo Bills will retire O.J.'s number, 911. And, see this one, entertainment moguls Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg, and David Geffen announced they are creating their own entertainment company. The company's going to be called Now Get the Fuck Out of My Office Productions. And, yeah. Katzenberg's starting to look like Adam Ant with those glasses, huh? Stanford University said students have invented a device the size of a credit card that uses a satellite-based navigation system to guide planes into a pinpoint landing in heavy fog. You know, when I was in college, I made an apple into a hash pipe. Once again, in a heavy fog. Speaking of hash pipes, earlier this week, President Clinton told USA Today that he can't help Chelsea with her homework anymore because he's, quote, not smart enough. Yeah, ethics class can be a real bitch, huh? You know, it seems like a lot of us mistrust the president, doesn't it? Well, what does Clinton expect, given his dismal teenage vacillation and tawdry personal life? I mean, there he is, cloaking himself in a life stitched together from the cast-off cloth of great men's lives, covered with rationalizations like a 99-cent store denim jacket laden with cheap glass baubles from the Bedazzler. Does he think we can't see what kind of man he really is? You know, Bill Clinton can walk solemnly through the Rose Garden with Nelson Mandela every day of the year, and we'll still see a ruddy-faced frat rat who's probably wondering what the presidential seal would look like on the ass of that blonde reporter in the second row. Now, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but what has happened to the presidency? The last half-dozen presidents have been bunco artists who made Melvin Dumar look like he was Edward R. Murrow. Let's dust for Prince. You had LBJ, the jug-eared sage of the South, whose Vietnam policy tore the country apart like a silk blouse marked down to $2.99 at a Target Assistant Manager's Day sale. You had Nixon, a fleshy homunculus with a paranoid psyche lodged in his whirring tin brain like a radioactive walnut. Nixon with his preternaturally sweaty brow and a beard so thick he had to shave while he was shaving. And then there was Gerald Ford, whom I hold personally responsible for Chevy's talk show. Enter Jimmy Carter, lusting in his heart and driving a VW Rabbit to the airport himself to pick up the Russian premier. Which led us to Ronald Reagan, the aging spendthrift with the black enamel Bob's big boy hairdo, who told the country that we could have our pie and eat it too, and we'd never get fat while we laid in bed stupefied by potato chip grease and bourbon, a hand in our underpants, watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and hoping we wouldn't have to wait until next week to win the lottery. And Reagan begat Bush, the thin-lipped C student from Yale who spent more time out of the country than Roman Polanski. George Bush, a president who looked all the more like a king for the fool he kept with him, the freckle-faced muffin head from the great state of Indiana, Dan Quayle. And it tells me a lot about how far the presidency has fallen, and a guy like Quayle can actually throw his jughead crown into the ring, in public, in print, and not be hounded from the room in a hail of desk staplers, dictionaries, small trash barrels, and half-eaten boxes of vegetable fried rice. I am appalled that this Chuzzlewit can actually aspire to the presidency outside the walls of a mental institution, and people don't tie him down and scrape his frontal lobes with a trowel like some demented Clockwork Orange droogie who's due to be rewired. No, our expectations have shriveled to the point where people just nod and write him a check. Yeah, okay, President Quayle, beautiful. Where's the bathtub with the Kool-Aid? And that dumps us out at the Clinton presidency. Faust meets little Abner. Bill Clinton, cute kid, but I'm not exactly getting that Gandhi-ji vibe off him at this point. Not a bad man, but not a good man either. Not a man of character, solid and sure, principled and even-handed, but an average Joe, tugged all around the game board of life by his need to be liked, his desire to press his flesh against the flesh of pretty girls, his love of fatty foods, rail drinks, and sappy Fleetwood Mac songs, peddling Jim Crack philosophies to a simple beat any clunk can dance to. Sure, Bill Clinton has a few good ideas, and he seems to genuinely want what's best for the country, but so what? Does that make him a president of consequence like Jefferson, Lincoln, Truman? No, it doesn't. He's only the president because every 4 years, we have to pick one. That's all. He took a ticket, he waited a while, he got his order, and pretty soon he'll leave the restaurant. We'll clean his table and get ready for the next schmo with aspirations beyond his capabilities. Well, I'll be honest with you, folks. What I'm looking for is somebody to just swipe the table clean in a frustrated 5 Easy Pieces rage because the service in this place is really starting to suck. I mean, what happened? What do we see these days when we look at a president? A schemer, a poll-taking self-aggrandizer who knows how, when he is caught red-handed, cheating on his taxes, humping a campaign volunteer, squelching the common good for PAC contributions, knows how to run down to Kmart and wade into a bunch of hamburger-addled wage slaves, snatch up one of their wall-eyed babies stunned into placidity by mother's milks mixed liberally with Diet Coke and Nuprin, kiss it for the cameras, then zip back to the Oval Office while the photo op is developed and mainlined into the homes of good folks who will see a man who's done wrong, surely, but loves babies. And that is America, dulled by mindless entertainment to the hard facts and hopeful that the big lie is really the big truth. Well, the big lie just isn't going to work anymore. And I think that if this president and future presidents really want to be taken to the bosom of the American people, they're going to have to come clean with us. They're going to have to drop the obfuscation, drop the smoke and mirrors, the pretense and denial, drop the weapons-grade bullshit, look America squarely in the eye and say, yeah, I inhaled it, then I drank the fucking bong water, all right? That's right. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I want to know what you think, America. Give me a call at 1-800-LACTOSE. And remember, 100% of the cost of your call goes to the phone company. My guest tonight is a brilliant commentator, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, and a best-selling author. He has a new book out, The Leveling Wind, which I believe is a source book for Mexican restaurants. Please welcome George Will, ladies and gentlemen. George. Good evening, George. How are you?
I'm terrific, and you?
Fine, thank you. Now, George, we elaborated on some of the president's positive points in the rant, but it seems to be that the country has yet to embrace him in many ways. What do you think the big problem we have with Bill Clinton is?
I think the country's grown up. I think part of the problem, of course, is that a lot of people Bill Clinton's age don't like that. They want a doctor older than they are, and they're really not sure about giving nuclear weapons to a guy who could have sat next to them in the second grade. It's just a kind of anxiety about politicians in general. But isn't it healthy that just as the British are getting over a monarchy, we're getting over the presidency? I mean, after all, he has an office that had been occupied by Millard Fillmore, Warren Harding, and Jimmy Carter. I mean, how hard can this be?
Do you think his position is salvageable at this midway point in his term? Could he right himself and possibly expect a second term, or has he got a short shelf life?
Well, the question is, can he get to 50% of the vote? I suppose if you get enough people in the race in '96, then he can win with 42%. He could win with 32%. I think he's going to have a hard time convincing people that it's really urgent that he come back.
You know, it's funny to me that it's funny to me that during the polls, he used to always, or during the primaries, he used to always slip the bonds of the character issue, and you know, it didn't seem to stop him on his march to the presidency. But now I wonder how much of the negative polls that he gets do you think reflects our kind of wide-eyed disbelief in his tawdry personal life, or what is rumored to be his tawdry personal life, which is probably true?
I think that's a lot of it. You know, if we didn't have television, if this person, any president, weren't in our living rooms every night at dinner time, it wouldn't be the same thing. Right. But now that we do have a president who, because of the Cold War, you see, the presidency acquired this huge role in American life because of the really coincidental arrival in the late 40s and early 50s of two things: television and the Cold War. Television needed to personalize government to find something photogenic, and it was presidents. And the Cold War made the president the center of this non-stop, high-tension, hair-trigger melodrama. The Cold War is over. Television's boring. I hate to say it looking in this camera, but there you are. The country's sort of used to it. The country's used to it. We've seen presidents, and I think, again, America's growing up. They just don't think government's that important.
George, did you just chill me?
No, I'm treating you as another American come of middle age.
All right, okay, because, like, I don't see you on Brinkley every Sunday morning, do I? You know, just kidding, George, kidding. Playing a little hardball.
That's not hardball.
Boy, they're making those Tic Tacs big this year. Now, George, you said in your book that as far as politics go, I found it interesting that you said you would prefer bewilderment to misguided certitude. Do you think Clinton would accrue many more points with us if he would just take us into his confidence and tell us on certain things he just cannot afford to buy a clue?
Well, when was the last time you heard a politician ask a question and you say, damned if I know? I mean, wouldn't that be impressive? They've always got these answers, and they always fit the 9.5-second soundbite. Do you know that in 1992, the average soundbite, that is the candidate for president actually saying something, on an evening newscast was 9.5 seconds? That's the kind of bite we now communicate in.
Right.
It doesn't make for subtlety. You know, Lincoln at Gettysburg took almost 3 minutes. That's a filibuster nowadays.
Yeah, but at Gettysburg, you know, he is having sex regularly leading up to there. And
Lincoln today would say, read my lips, no slaves, and it lacks something. I mean, frankly, this doesn't disturb me that much because the 9.5-second soundbite sort of serves the conservative point of view to which I subscribe for two reasons. First of all, conservatives can say most of what they know, think, and believe in 9.5 seconds because the basic conservative agenda, what it lacks in poetry, it makes up in concision because it's no, stop, less, cut it out. Right. You don't have to agree with it, but you can get it said fast. And second, the general kind of negative campaigning means that by the end of a campaign, the winner is the most disliked person in that jurisdiction. And if you're a conservative and you're trying to demythologize government, this style of campaigning suits us fine.
That's why we love you, baby. You're the only one who will whip the word demythologize out. All right, we've got a phone call. Line 3, Mark from shockingly Little Rock. Ouch.
Hey, Dennis.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was wondering if you think, is it a good thing that we're finding out about presidents' sexual affairs while they're in office instead of waiting until after they die and reading it in their biographies?
Well, only in that you have to use one hand to hold the biography. I don't know. George, you got a thought on that, or would you?
I'll make a mildly serious point. You know, we did not know about FDR's romance with, I believe her name was Lucy Mercer, while he was president. There was a kind of reticence in the press protecting presidents. But you know something else we didn't know? We didn't know he was dying during the 1944 election. So once you start having journalistic reticence about one part of a president's life, you're apt to get it about something that can matter very much indeed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another call, line 2. We have Daryl from Clarksville, Virginia. Daryl?
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good evening.
I think you're the greatest. I'm voting for you.
All right, thank you, baby.
I'd like to ask Mr. Will, if I may, is his view on the economy. Is there anything that can be done to improve the? Is there anything that can be done to improve the economy in the Clinton administration, sir?
Well, first of all, the economy is not doing very badly, and that's what is giving Washington a nervous breakdown. The economy is going up, and the standing of the political class is going down. So it turns out the American people are a little more complicated than they thought. They don't simply vote their pocketbook. But remember, we're so spoiled in this country. If we have 2% economic growth for about 10 years, we live a whole lot better than our parents did. So most of our problems today are the problems of success. We've opened the world to more trade. 1 billion Chinese capitalists have now joined the system, so competition's fiercer. But over time, if you believe, as I do, that, for example, the best thing that ever happened to Detroit was Japanese cars, because now you can drive an American car safely and proudly. They don't fall apart. They're just better. Mm-hmm. Then why not go through some of these rigors and come out the other side leaner and tougher?
George, with your discerning eye, do you see anybody on the horizon who you could construe as a great man, a man who can step into the presidency? Is there anybody out there now, or is this...
I think there are a lot of good people out there. I'm as fascinated as everyone else is by Colin Powell. But I must tell you that we generally get great presidents because greatness has been pulled from them by disasters, by a revolutionary war, a civil war, a Great Depression. Wouldn't it be nice to say, I'll take a boring president, a mediocre president, because we don't have turmoil, strife, plague, famine, and locusts drawing greatness out of them? What's the matter with tranquility?
Let's ask Mark from Pensacola on line 1.
Hey, Dennis, welcome back. My wife and I are certainly glad to see you back on the air this year.
Thank you, Mark.
Listen, you guys brought up character reference of the current president, and I am just kind of curious, either one of you gentlemen, why is Bill Clinton being shown and seen in public with Ted Kennedy, of all people?
Well, because he went to the People's Republic of Massachusetts, where his standing is about 60%, which is 20% above what it is in the rest of the country. So, I mean, I really think Ted Kennedy is, to this day, the distilled essence of the Democratic Party. That is, if you turn the lights out and let them vote Democrats, that's what they'd give you. So it was a good place to get applauded.
The operative word being distilled. And line 3, we've got Kevin from Atlanta. Kevin?
Dennis.
Yeah, Kevin.
Ask Mr. Will, why are we back in Iraq?
George? That's kind of a broad question. Why are we back in Iraq?
Well, we're not. We're on the edge of Iraq so that they will stay in Iraq. I mean, we like Iraq so much, we just want the Iraqis to stay there. And it's when they begin to spill over into Kuwait that we begin to worry. And in fact, if we do want to drive those new improved American cars, we want to keep a sort of secure oil supply, and that's why we are on the edge of Iraq.
Another call. We got Kurt from Washington, D.C. Go ahead, Kurt.
Hey, Dennis, man, I've been trying to get a hold of you for so long. It's great to get through.
Boy, I'm glad it took this long. Go ahead, Kurt.
George, I have a quick question for George. Actually, I have a couple questions for George. George, were you with Jack Kent Cooke last Sunday at the Redskins-Cardinals game?
Yes.
You were. My friend Danny says hi.
How are you?
George?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you think about Cal Ripken's streak ending if replacement players start the season?
Well, I think it's an outrage, but I think it testifies well to Cal Ripken, who said that if they start with replacement players, it ain't Major League Baseball, so it shouldn't count. If the owners count it, it'll just be part of their unbroken and pristine record of being wrong on every issue.
All right, George, we're in the realm of baseball. Now let me ask you your personal choice. If you were to be forming up a political rotisserie league, would you take Clinton? What's your personal beat on him?
Clinton for what? Designated what?
Pitcher of bullshit.
I suppose he'd be on my 40-man roster. You know, when you bring up everyone in September.
Clear the decks, yeah.
That's right.
Well, listen, George, I want to thank you. The book is George Will, Politics, the Culture, in other words, The Leveling Wind. These are your columns for the last 4 years?
Columns, commencement addresses, book reviews.
How you selling, babe? Okay?
Hotcakes.
All right. George Will, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Good night, George.
Good night.
Thank you, George. George. It's a looser, funkier George at SeaWorld this year, isn't it? All right, what do we learn from tonight's little presentation? Well, we've learned that the office of the presidency might as well have been vacant from 1963 on. Presidents aren't leaders anymore. They're freaks, fire breathers, sword swallowers, oddities who can pop their eyes out, put their heels on the back of their head and roll downhill. President CeeLo, his powerful flippers propel him around a pool at 30 miles an hour. Vote for him and be amazed. And Bill Clinton is just the latest tunnel rat in a platoon of short-timers, the most recent in a long line of great equivocators who have rendered the office of the presidency not imperial, but rather improbable. A sideshow on the way to a one-ring circus starring a unicorn that is just a dog with a table leg surgically implanted in its forehead. Ah, fuck it. Who wants pie? Thank you. Nice to be back doing the news. Like many of you, I spent my summer playing in a skiffle band at the Cavern Club. All right. First story. That's right, folks. My offer still stands. You bring me Bob Dole's head on a stick, and this beautiful 1995 Ford Mustang is yourn. I'll take piece of cords that won't last for 200, Alex. Okay, Harold Pinner. Now we need an occupation. Anybody? Attorney General Janet Reno told the White House press corps yesterday that there was no truth to the rumor that she was on her way to Elizabeth Arden for a complete head-to-toe makeover. All right, come on. Sometimes I miss one. You know, I'm not perfect. Wasn't funny. Let it go. Yeah, could you make it out to Disillusion, please? And Attorney General Janet Reno knocked Washington for a loop today. What, are you kidding me? You think I'd miss it that badly? I'll always take care of you. Aunt Jemima has a new spokesperson, and I tell you, Hussein's just like all the rest of them. Invade and spend, invade and spend, invade and spend. That one I meant to be funny. Goes down the stairs without a care. Everyone knows it's Slinky. I'm telling you, Bob, you can't miss it. I'm on 22 Oak Glen Avenue. It's a White House across from the school. 3 pillars on the front porch. You'll see the fake brick on the right. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, of course, it has a wrought iron railing. Now, I never promised you I wouldn't see other animals. You have any globes that don't have that Africa place on them? Yeah, you can't miss it. It's the gasoline station with the 3 pumps. There's usually a guy standing there in a cowboy hat. And what else can I tell you? Oh, of course, it's right next to the house with a fork sticking in the yard. After a showy hug, NFL Flash merchants Deion Sanders and Andre Rison wait patiently for a trainer to help them untangle their gold necklaces. Ito. Lance Ito. You fighting attorneys are like oyster with 2 grains of sand inside. Instead of beautiful pearl, you create only irritation. Come on, come on. It's a kung fu voice. Lighten up. Stop being so Japanese. I said I did it. What? Of course, while we were away, the biggest celebrity story in the history of our country transpired. O.J. Simpson. What an unbelievable story, huh? You know, as I watched O.J. drive up the 405 that night, I remember thinking to myself, wow, this is riveting. But I also had the attendant thought that L.A. is the only city in the world weird enough that they might actually have to break into this coverage and cut away to something truly fucking bizarre. Well, the Queen of England is blowing Barney the dinosaur in the Westwood area of Los Angeles. Let's go to Wendy Takuda on the seat of the alleged dinosaur head. Wendy? Well, it's true, Paul. The aforementioned thunder lizard is receiving a vigorous skull fuck from Europe's leading matriarch. Guess what, folks? That's the news, and I am out of here. Good night, everybody. The Private Diary of Lau Menendez, a new book about the notorious murder trial, will be hitting the bookstores on June 12th, just in time for Father's Day. What's happening, Cleveland? All right. Hey, what's that? Thought you went down with a Skinnerd plane. All right, let's... Okay, kids, let's see who fed it, who ate this week. The Republican National Committee has threatened legal action against the makers of the Contract with America boxer shorts that have Newt Gingrich's picture on the front. You know, I'm not buying underwear that has a bigger dick on it than I have in it, okay? I'm sorry, but, Newt. You heard me, Newt. You're a big dick. Ford Motors announced this week it's overhauling its Ford Bronco for 1997. The new model comes equipped with a bloody glove compartment, but no AC. No AC this year, so it's kind of a... All right. Got to get you back somehow. You're a big dick, Newt. Boy, yeah. The 90s equivalent of the applause sign. And the FBI reported this week that car thefts were down 2% this year, but tank thefts are up 200%, so it's kind of a... Connie Chung was dumped from her co-anchor job with Dan Rather at CBS last week. Yeah? You happy about that? Connie lost me when she played Boswell to Tonya Harding, Samuel Johnson. That got a little... Chung said rumors that she is upset are erroneous, and she respects the, quote, network fuckwads who did this to me. Chung went on to say she would have no qualms about going to a lesser network than CBS if, in fact, there was one. Sorry, just putting one in for Letterman, my man. Her dismissal leaves ABC's Peter Jennings as the only remaining female anchor, of course. And a little feisty tonight. I didn't think it read this aggressively in run-through. The author of the book Forrest Gump, see this, he's complaining that although Paramount made over $650 million on the film, he's received only a small fraction of that amount because he had a share of the film's net, not the gross. Evidently, Forrest Gump was an autobiography, huh? Wow. Some audiences are like a box of chocolates. A bomb was found this week in my monologue. No, in See? Country doesn't mind if you fuck up, as long as you suffer through it with a suitable degree of aplomb. A bomb was found this week in Yasser Arafat's Gaza Strip office. A PLO spokesperson told reporters, right now we're trying to determine whether the bomb is the work of the Israeli secret police or just one of ours that somebody left lying around, you know. A report that Saddam Hussein has removed his half-brother from a cabinet post turned out to be inaccurate. It seems he didn't remove his half-brother, but actually removed half of his real brother. And therein lies the humor. Heidi Fleiss, sentenced to 3 years in prison this week, fined $1,500 and led away in handcuffs. Handcuffed and forced to pay $1,500. Not so funny when it happens to you, huh, Heidi? How it is it? You know, I'm teasing Heidi Fleiss, but I think it's such a bullshit decision. I mean, you know, come on. It's guys want to fuck. They paid the fuck. Why is she going to prison, you know? All the shit that goes on in the world. I can't believe they're sending this kid up. All right. The trial began this week of two men charged with kidnapping New York tuxedo tycoon Harvey Weinstein. The defendants are now claiming they were really renting Weinstein. And, I respect you for not liking that one. Here's one that'll have you in the owls. A new poll by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette reveals that in Bill Clinton's home state, 36% of the electorate would vote to re-elect their favorite son, 35% would not vote to re-elect him, and 29% said they would like some front teeth. Does anybody care about Whitewater? I mean, fuck it, it's Arkansas. What does that mean to me out here in the real world under the yellow sun? And just this morning, they caught another fence jumper at the White House. So in an attempt to get some R&R, Clinton has announced plans to spend 2 weeks in South Central Los Angeles. Clinton also had a new putting green installed on the grounds of the White House this week. The president's game was interrupted briefly yesterday as he allowed a foursome of armed intruders to play through. You know, Clinton is living proof that physical exercise can be a complete waste of time, isn't he? I mean, the more he jogs, the bigger he gets. You realize if this guy is reelected, the leader of the free world will be Bib, the Michelin Man. Not that I'm, thank you. Somebody at the, do we go Pavlov there with a sign? Not that I'm one to talk. The other day I noticed my wife had hung a picture on the wall of her with another man. A man whose chin and cheekbones had definition. A man who didn't need to suck in his gut like Hasselhoff in a public sauna just to get through the monologue on his own highly acclaimed HBO show. As I continued to gaze at the photo, I realized this svelte stranger was, in fact, me. I used to be in shape. What the hell happened? Well, what happened to me has happened to a lot of us. One night, you and your wife finish off a large sausage pizza with extra sausage, and you notice that she didn't even have any. You think, boy, I should work this meal off. Then you lay down on the couch for a little 15-year nap. You know, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but what is it with America's can't fit into my Calvin Klein's-like obsession with fitness? Isn't our slow but sure descent into a Hitchcockian silhouette just evolution in its purest form? Quite frankly, isn't all this fitness crap a feeble attempt to defy Darwin's relentless glacier? In short, isn't our species meant to look like Sean Eckhart? When I think about it, the only exercise program that has ever worked for me is occasionally getting up in the morning and jogging my memory to remind myself exactly how much I hate to exercise. Running, I keep hearing about this runner's high, but I must have gotten a hold of some bad shit because I tried it once, and 6 blocks in, I was on all fours vomiting in the gutter like George Bush at a Benihana. Walking? If it's so good for you, how come my mailman looks like Jabba the Hutt with a quirky thyroid? The treadmill, you take your eyes off the thing for 1 second and you end up like Gary Busey on, well, let's say any weekend. You know, my wife doesn't mind my running on the treadmill, but she gets a little miffed when I squeal at her to refill my hanging water bottle while I pee in the wood shavings that I've spread out on the floor. Then there's the Stairmaster, as in walking up the stairs for a half an hour. I want to do that, I'll move back to my first shithole apartment in New York, okay? Aerobics, the only reason I like watching Sweatin' to the Oldies is because Richard Simmons is working his ass off and he's still not in any better shape than me. Hey, Richard, if I need low-impact aerobics, I'll masturbate, all right? And if I need high impact, I'll masturbate again. Or, of course, you can take the ultimate easy way out, steroids. With steroids, you just keep it getting older and older and bigger until you eventually have to retire to a game preserve and have kids throw pennies at your snout. You know, guys, the crotchal irony is that steroids only make one thing smaller, and get this, it's your penis! And if you remember correctly, the paucity of a dick in your life is what got you into steroids in the first place, okay? And as for private health clubs, they're just getting too damn complicated. You know, there's nothing quite as humiliating as finishing a 30-minute workout on a piece of gym equipment only to have the instructor tell you you've been sitting on it backwards. And while we're at it, someone explained to me why anyone would want to go to a place called a family fitness center. Why should your family burn off their pent-up energies at a gym when you can all accomplish the same thing for free at home with a series of ugly confrontational shouting matches? And then there's the stretch class at the health club. My wife suggested we take a stretch class, and I said, don't expect me to do any of that Jean-Claude Van Damme kitchen counter shit, okay? My groin muscles are as intractable as Wayne LaPierre at the NRA's annual Skeetapalooza show. Hey, I only have one fitness goal. Like most of you, I'd like to be able to run a few down and outs with my sons at the family picnic without having to dow up Randy Mantooth and the boys to sprint over carrying an IV with ringers. I think any aspirations beyond that can be placed under the heading of narcissistic overkill. Folks, the bottom line is this. The last animals that let their heads get really small while their bodies got really big ended up in our gas tanks, okay? So the next time you look in the mirror and see more pork than a congressional subcommittee, do something about it. Go to the garage, pick up your old dumbbells, walk back inside the house and smash the fuck out of that mirror. Of course. Of course. Thank you. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. All right, thank you. All right, I want to know what you think, America. Give me a call at 1-800-LACTOSE. If Santa Claus and Janis Joplin had a kid, it would be my guest tonight from Saturday Night Live. Please welcome Chris Farley. Farley!
Hey, Dennis! How you doing?
Wow. Chris, you are ripped, baby.
Yeah!
Huh? Wow.
What's wrong with that, Dennis?
You look like John Kruk on crack. How you doing, babe?
Pretty good, Dennis.
Yeah, where are you at right now?
I'm down Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And, remember when we were on Saturday Night Live? That was excellent.
All right, man. Chris, what's your regimen consist of recently? You're trying to whip into shape? How are you going about it, my friend?
By God, Dennis, they're beating me into shape down here. I'm over at the Hilton Head Health Institute.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
They got about 800 calories in their diet.
Uh-huh.
And that ain't pretty. No, it's
How much is 800?
Huh?
How much is 800 calories? Break that down for me. What would that come out to in regular food?
800 calories is like a bucket of popcorn without the butter. Mm-hmm. Or like a salad at Taco Bell. A candy bar with change. It's nothing.
How many?
Get me out of here! No, it's pretty good, you know. I like it.
How many Twinkies is 800 calories?
How many Twinkies? I don't know, but not very many. But you know, I'm working out too. I'm down here at the Hilton Head Athletic Club. That's where I come to pump iron.
What? Now what happened? You're saying Hilton Head every 3 minutes. What Hilton promised you a blowjob or what? Is that why they call it Hilton Head? What's going on down there?
I don't know.
Because I know Clinton goes there a lot. Anyway,
he's not at the Health Institute.
Oh, boy.
But anyways, what I'm doing, Dennis, is lifting some weights. You know, sometimes that helps me get into character.
Yeah.
Like for old Matt Foley, here's what I do. I go 1, 2, 3, in a van down by the river. And 2, 2, 3, in a van down by the river. Then for the Chris Farley show, it's remember when stupid, idiot, moron, dummy, moron. And that's about it. I got nothing.
You know, you don't even have to lose weight. Just quit doing films with that Munchkin Spade. He makes you look big.
Yeah.
Start doing films with John Goodman. People will be sending you baklava in the mail. You got a trainer down there, man? Are you doing this by yourself? Are you working in conjunction with anybody?
You know what, Dennis? That's a real important thing to get a trainer.
All right.
I need somebody that's going to kick my butt.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a trainer's real important for that. Because I sometimes need a little kick in the butt.
Right.
We got about 250 pounds on this bench. Sometimes I need a little motivation to get it up.
You're a fucking animal.
Yeah, Dennis, check it out. That's where the trainer comes in.
All right.
All right, Chris. Warm-up's over. I want to see some action.
I'm trying!
Shut up and keep lifting.
Please! Don't!
You quitting already?
Give me a break, would you? Just go out with me.
Maybe if you lose 30 pounds, but forget it.
You have to go out with me. I'm paying you! Well, Dennis, that'll keep me going for a while.
All right. We got some phone calls for you, Chris. Mind if we take a call?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, man. We got line 6. It's Joe from Amsterdam, New York. Joe, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis. How are you doing?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
Fine.
Okay, glad we touched base. Next call, line 1. No, I'm sorry.
All right. I was wondering if Chris ever got problems getting a job because of his weight. Did producers discriminate against him in any fashion?
No.
All right. I should have got out when I did. We got another call, line 1, Jennifer from Burlington, Vermont. Jennifer?
Hi, Dennis.
What's happening in Burlington, baby? A little Scotch guarding? Go ahead.
I have a question for you, Dennis. Since you've been on Saturday Night Live, and to see you now today, you haven't changed very much weight-wise. Why is this? What's your secret?
Well, I'm wearing bigger jackets. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a, I got that little thing happening. I look, NCRitis. Looks like I swallowed a cash register. But certainly, I'm going to try to get buff like Chris. Okay, line 2, we got Steve from Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Steve, you there?
How you doing, Dennis?
Hi, Steve. Where's Reynoldsburg? Way out there in the country?
Yeah, it's a suburb of Columbus.
Oh, all right.
Home of the tomato.
Home of the tomato.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be proud of something. Go ahead.
Hey, anyways, I got a question for Chris. I wanted to ask Chris if he has taken up John Belushi's advice and had little chocolate donuts breakfast for champions.
Little chocolate donuts and breakfast champions?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I love that one. I don't know.
Okay.
That is excellent.
All right, line 3. It's going so well, I want to take more calls. Line 3, step up. Harry from Tulsa. What's happening, Harry?
I have a question for Chris.
Shoot.
Hey, Chris, it takes a lot of agility to make those great falls you make every time I see you on TV or in your movies. And I wonder what you do to warm up so you don't crack your head open. And
what I like to do...
one-arm push-up for us.
I'll give you a one-arm push-up right here.
Whoa!
Here's what I like to do for a little agility exercise.
Do it.
Is pretend I'm a ballerina. Get wider! Jeez, I forget it.
Who's on camera down there, babe? Sonny Von Bulow?
No, he's a good guy.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah.
You remember on Saturday Night Live when we were, like sometimes you would cut me down, my dad would go, hell, you know what? If he does that, he likes you. And so then you'd go, forget it. That lady's waving at me. I can't. Forget it, man.
Yeah,
Dennis?
Yeah, I remember that, Chris. Well, I must tell you this, Farley. I'm happy for you. I haven't seen you in a while, but I always knew from the first time I saw you doing that Chippendales thing with Patrick Swayze, I said, this is one of the funniest 5 fuckers I'll ever meet in my life. So congratulations
Thanks,
to you in your movie career, man. You're doing great.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on tonight.
All right, Dennis. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, babe. Bye-bye. Chris Farley, ladies and gentlemen. The hell was that all about? Jesus. Could he hear me? He was doing a fucking semaphore act or something. All right, the Chinese Olympic White House fence jumping team visited D.C. this week. In an attempt to raise money, the Secret Service has begun charging White House fence jumpers $75 for a customized frame mugshot. No, I never saw any of your shows in Vietnam, Mr. Hope. All right. He didn't go to Nam, you see? Okay. Feel like going to Canada right now. Here we see the whitewater nightmare Bill Clinton has every night. Wednesday, the Kennedy compound in Palm Beach was sold for $7 million. Air Transportation Secretary Federico Pena shows the seatbelts the Clinton administration now uses to stop its cabinet members from leaving. This here is Rosem, a second illegal alien housekeeper. Get a load of the tamales on her. Spiro Agnew got busted again this week, and on Monday, George Stephanopoulos took a jacuzzi at the White House. Here we see Ralph Reed, executive director of the Christian Coalition, seen praying that George Stephanopoulos will put those papers down and just lean over and kiss him real hard. Oh. You saying all Christians are gay? No, okay, it was a fucking joke. Wake up. All right, Senator Bob Packwood seemed unfazed by the investigation into his sexual misconduct, saying, I enjoy a good probe myself, and, all right, next up, National Rifle Association spokesman Wayne LaPierre holds up the NRA's new toned-down press release in which they refer to federal agents as hush-puppied thugs. Here we see a delegate at the last week's annual NRA convention moments after he suggested that maybe the gun lobby could work with Congress. And youngest NRA member, little Timmy Johnson, is the apple of his teacher's remaining eye. Here we see the new law firm of Babbitt, Bobbitt, Grabbit, and Blowit. Try to do a Clinton Nom joke, I get my head handed to me. Do a little blowjob joke, I'm right back there. All right. What's that remind you of? Michael kissing Fredo in Havana, huh? Here we see Dan Rather in the revolving door that hit Connie Chung's ass on her way out last week. And Joey Buttafuoco was arrested in a prostitution sting on Hollywood's Sunset Strip Wednesday. Buttafuoco reportedly said he wasn't looking for a prostitute, just a young girl who would eventually shoot his wife in the head. You know, if you look at the DNA test this way, I'm innocent. In a move to speed up the trial, Judge Lance Ito this week asked O.J. Simpson if he wanted his freedom or would he rather go for the curtain Marsha Clark was pointing to. Boy, Ito looks stressed to me. I don't know. Bing's dead, Bob. We're playing golf now. You know, when hair plugs go bad, they really go bad, don't they? Britain's Queen Elizabeth surprised England this week by eloping with MASH's Jamie Farr. Mazda recalled all their pickup trucks from 1992 to 1994 for possible defective leather upholstery. Hey, I can hear the ocean. Recent Republican budget cuts have really clipped the wings of the Navy's Blue Angel stunt flying team. What a day. My car took a shit on the way to Barstow. I bet the goddamn exacta. And finally, tasty and nutritious ring of goodness on the outside, bitter alcoholic struggling actor on the inside. Guess what, folks? That's the news, and I am out of here. Good night, everybody. astronomers have found traces of helium gas 9 billion light years away. This confirmed what scientists have thought all along. The need to talk in a funny, high-pitched voice is a universal. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. What's happening, Cleveland? Hey, before we get underway, I did a joke on the big screen last week about the kid who won the spelling bee. We found a photo of him that caught him in a weird angle. Naturally, I took a shot. It hasn't been sitting well with me this week. He's a 16-year-old kid. He does the biggest thing in his life. Here I am pissing off on him, so I wanted to apologize to him and tell him that I'm happy you won the spelling bee. Sometimes I can be a real A-S-S-H-O-L-E. All right, let's see who fed it and who ate it this week. Yesterday, O.J. Simpson struggled to squeeze his hands into gloves shown by tests to be linked to the crime scene. Simpson told the jury, "You can see they're too small. These definitely aren't the gloves I used when I killed her." What was that shit about, huh? Get the fuck out of here, O.J. In New Hampshire this past weekend, President Clinton and Newt Gingrich held a press conference together that was not only polite, but at times even amicable. The part of Newt Gingrich was played by Wilford Brimley. Then, while up in New Hampshire, Gingrich went looking for moose, said he wanted to see a moose before his party's environmental policy made them extinct. Monday, the Supreme Court ruled it was unconstitutional to award jobs on the basis of race. Justice Clarence Thomas said, quote, "People should get their jobs through political favors, like I did." And, yeah. And he was masturbating when he said it. That's why he wears that robe. Da-da-da-da-da. Wisconsin Republican Governor Tommy Thompson said he will not run for president in 1996. He withdrew after a poll showed people thought Tommy Thompson would be the dumbest fucking president name ever. Yeah. Lane Kirkland, head of the AFL-CIO, is stepping down after 16 years. Members of the AFL-CIO urged Kirkland to retire because they realized it would be cheaper to hire a non-union president. Mel Tillis being sued for $750,000 by his brother Richard, who claims he was unjustly fired from his job selling souvenirs in Mel's Theater in Missouri. Mel's comments about the charges are still taking place. And, oh, okay, I'm the only one who noticed he stutters. All right, like, he hasn't milked that heifer for 20 years. Okay. Michael Jackson appeared with his lover, Lisa Marie the other night. Jackson appeared on Primetime Live to salvage his reputation and at the same time destroy Diane Sawyer's. Michael's new single is entitled Scream, which coincidentally is exactly what parents are advising their children to do if they ever approached by the pop singer. ABC News spent a full hour of network primetime talking to these two. Why does something that completely inane like that fascinate us? Our culture has gone from GE College Bowl to the guy on Wheel of Fortune who asks, is there an F as in Pharaoh? Is intelligence a liability nowadays? I think we can answer that with one word. Duh. America's never been what you would call highbrow, but these days it seems our collective cranial ridge is sloping like the shoulders of the bar boy at the Kennedy compound. Now, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but we live in an era and a time when calling someone an Einstein is considered to be somewhat of an insult. Morons are out there in force, making left-hand turns from right-hand lanes, trying to pay for drive-through tacos with a fucking check, calling 411 to get the number for information. And in most of our fine metropoli, the riposte "fuck off" will get you a seat at the local Algonquin Round Table. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. First and foremost, as a matter of fact, numbers 1, 2, and what comes after 2, we didn't pay enough attention to our education system. We've got to stop paying teachers like the kid who delivers grit. You know, these... For Christ's sake, these are the people who will lead us and our children into the next century, and they can't even afford real yodels, okay? They have to get those 144-count Price Club steamer trunk size of Little Debbie's, the equivalent. High school kids are entering the job market with an education that barely qualifies them to run the tilt-a-whirl at the traveling carnival. Even those fortunate enough to graduate from Ivy League schools, well, they go to write movie scripts about, guess what? Stupid people. And that brings us to our next reason. Let's face facts. The TV beast ate us whole, quicker than a dog on a dreamsicle, all right? Most talk shows are just bimbo-mercials. Connie Chung actually hosted a network news show for a year. And many sitcoms need 2 longshoremen with a pipe wrench to twist the canned laughter dowel. Bright people whom I really used to respect now stay home to watch Beverly Hills 90210. Why bother? You just know that every week Brandon and Dylan are going to let Kelly jerk them around for a while, and Donna and Ray are going to be having yet another abusive spat at the Peach Pit. Oh, I hate Ray. TV. TV producers say Americans enjoy the stupid shit, but hey, it's the same reason Eskimos enjoy blubber. It's the only fucking thing available at the Arctic buffet, okay? Pop culture has turned the brain into the body's new appendix. No real function, and it could quite possibly blow up and kill you. As organs go, you just don't need your brain anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm certain in the very near future, people will go to the hospital, or should I say turn on the hospital channel, and get their brains taken out, just as a precaution. Indeed, in the business of television, brightness can often be taken from you and used as a scimitar to cleave your occupational head off. Our guest tonight, Jon Stewart, ran a pretty tidy and, might I add, pretty intelligent little Keebler tree over there till it was chopped down last week. Now, there are many reasons for the cancellation of a television show. I'm pretty sure John would tell you that the culpability flowchart on the demise of his show read like the genealogy of the kid on the porch in Deliverance. But I'm reasonably sure it had something to do with John's use of words like genealogy, which I think most Americans believe to be when Barbara Eden visits her OB-GYN. America, we are at a fork in the road. To the left, you've got books. And to the right, the never-ending horizon of the new technology. I myself am taking a hard left, because if they talk you into hanging that RICO, the new technology is only going to make it worse. Now they tell you it's going to make it better, but if you notice, the voice they tell you that in is always the computer-generated one, and it's digitally synthesized, too. That means less expected from us, less striving, less brain work, more stupid, and eventually the king will be the one who just doesn't shit himself. You know, our reliance on technology is making us soft, and if we're not careful, it will only get worse. Scientists estimate by the end of the century, via the means of virtual reality, a man will be able to simulate making love to any woman he wants to through his television set. You know, folks, the day an unemployed iron worker can lay in his Barcalounger with a Foster's in one hand and a channel flicker in the other and fuck Claudia Schiffer for $19.95, it's going to make crack look like Sanka, all right? Of course. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I want to know, what you think, America. Give me a call at 1-800-LACTOSE. My guest tonight is the host of his own late-night talk show. Even more importantly, he introduced the world to Howard Feller. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jon Stewart. Jon. John A.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. We're watching some old tapes of America's Funniest Home Videos. A guy just got hit in the nuts. It kills me. I love that. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
What did Saget say after he got hit in the nuts?
Something like, no!
Hey, man, I'm going to miss your show, John. I liked your show a lot.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
And,
I appreciate that.
How you feeling? What's it feel like, first off?
It's rough, man. You know, it's like getting punched in the stomach, you know, to put that much of yourself into something and then have it get taken away is difficult. I do think that we weren't really canceled because we were too intelligent for the audience, that's for sure. I think people that watch the show would probably agree with that. I think one of the reasons we really got canceled, if I may, was it was a direct result of a plan designed and executed by the International Jewish Media Conspiracy. Now, Dennis, I have documentation back at my enclave. I can go back there right now.
Yeah. You're not Jewish, are you, John?
Yeah, I am. All right, it wasn't them. It was shitty ratings, okay?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, all right.
Well, you don't think it... now, see, when I watched your show,
yeah,
the little puppet bit killed me, and I always thought, well, some people might perceive this as dumb, but I think you would always make the conscious decision to work back to dumb as opposed to, like, working beyond, your limitations to get up to it. I thought that thing was brilliant.
That's probably true. We were just trying to set up an alternative to what was already out there because, you know, it's a difficult market. You can get squeezed. And we were so successful in setting up, you know, an alternative that it only appealed to 5 people. I'd like to read their names now if I could. Jim Ferguson, Wisconsin. Well, we were just really trying to do stuff that appealed to us, that we thought was funny. I was blessed with really good writers and really good people around me. And we're real proud of what we accomplished, and, you know, whatever happened, happened, so.
Now, as a comedian, I always think that we are right out there with the people in our face, and we're able to see if it's getting any dumber out there. I have noticed over the last few years that when I go to a comedy club, and I'm not saying this, quite frankly, once you get to the point where they know your name, the people who come to see you kind of know what they're going to get. But when I would wander into the Improv one night or here, I used to think that the crowds were getting sort of abysmal in a way. I mean, if somebody was trying to...
I think they're more used to it, though. See, rather than like the dumbing of America, I think it's more the numbing of it. I think you see so much on television and you see so much comedy or you see so many programs that you no longer watch it and get stimulated by it, you know, like you used to. There's so many channels.
Right.
It's more like the way, you know, we're watching sort of this never-ending auto race, you know, and we just sit there and it's sort of distracting and it's sort of pleasant, but you're really just waiting for a car to fly out of control and crash into the grandstand, so something interesting, something compelling. It's like when you watch TV, you'll be entertained by the sitcoms and the things that are on, but when some famous guy drives a white Bronco across the highway, wow, that's really compelling. That's TV. And the next guy's going to have to go past that. The next celebrity that kills is going to have to eat his wife and take off in a helicopter. You know, it's got to go further than that. I think. And I'm the guy to do it.
I remember
break. Cannibalism.
I remember watching OJ that night drive up the highway and thought, LA is the only city in the world weird enough where they might actually have to break into this coverage and cut away to something truly fucking bizarre, you know, like Queen of England is blowing Barney the dinosaur in Westwood. All right, we got a call for you, line 6. We got Eugene from Andalusia, Alabama.
We're very big there.
Huh? Go ahead, Eugene.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Okay, what's happening in Andalusia tonight, man?
Well, think about it. It's Alabama, for Christ's sake.
How you guys doing after Hee Haw got canceled? You all right?
What, John? What'd you say?
Okay,
Hee Haw just got canceled. Are they okay down there?
Hey, well, what can I say, man? That was entertainment. Dennis, here's my question for you, my friend. It seems like to me that it's not in America's best interest, it's not in the American government's best interest to have an educated, intelligent population because a stupid population is much more malleable and controllable. What do you think about that?
I think you're dangerously close to that freaky militia thing, and I'm seeing you now, man, through the monitor, and the camouflage does not look good. Okay, I don't believe in plots like that. John, do you think the government's organized to get shit together like that, or?
I don't know. The microchip in my head's a little rusty, so I'm not getting the messages right now that I used to. I don't think the American people are as susceptible to the messages of TV and film and music as the government would want you to believe. I think we're a stronger lot than we let on, and I don't think that the lyrics in songs are direct commands from God to action. You know, I mean, Julie Andrews sang "Climb Every Mountain." I don't go hiking every weekend. It's a fucking song, you know?
How can you can't? Why? Now you tell me, this guy was doing this an hour a night for the last 8 months. How is this off the air? This startles me. It's the same thing I had with Ben Stiller. I used to watch that show every week. I think this is the funniest thing on television. It was 95th, 96th every week. I'm disappointed. We got another phone call. Line 7, Tori from Dumont, New Jersey. Tori, question for John?
Yeah, it's pretty much a question for both of you. I would like to consider myself a pretty intelligent person. I read a lot.
And you are.
What do you mean?
Well, you dialed in, for God's sakes. You got in.
Yeah. The question is, I pretty much got tired of, like, having people complain at me about being smart in high school, and I just simply stopped working and stopped completing assignments and things like that just so I wouldn't have to put up with the crap from all everybody.
You found pot, didn't you, son? You found pot. Is that
it? Not in a while.
You smoked all of it in the state. So you really are like, you've gone into the sort of the dumb closet, man, is what you're saying?
No, I've been clean for 7 months, a little over.
You're not proving yourself to be as smart as you think you are, man.
Sorry.
So you say that you're kind of afraid to act smart because you feel it like works against you. Is that the gist of this?
It's just like I do a lot of work and I'd be ahead of most of my classes and I'd get a lot of crap from people from pulling A's, and so I pretty much just stopped and like I wasted a lot of time.
Well, I think you made a super choice, and don't ever call me collect again. Okay, line 1, we've got Mike from Ridley Park, Pennsylvania. Mike, go ahead. What's your question?
Hi, Dennis. Hi, John.
Hello.
You know, I really know what that previous caller was talking about because I'm always having to hide my intelligence and dumb down my vocabulary. I mean, it seems that if you use a polysyllabic word around some people, they look at you with this slack-jawed intensity of
what kind of word?
John, what's polysyllabic?
Polysyllabic.
Pollyanna.
No, I think that's polysyllabic unsaturated fats or something.
The thing is this, look, the display of intelligence is not as exciting as, like, the debate team was never drawing the kind of crowds that the football team was. Debate is never as exciting as a good game of football, with the exception of the 1990 Kirk Cameron classic, Listen to Me, which was a debate movie, and a terrific one at that.
The
But
debate
it's just not
team,
that interesting.
you would often find a debate team going back and forth on why they weren't getting laid, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. I don't want to see Stephen Hawkins host a variety hour. I want to be entertained.
All right, line 2, Michelle from Woodridge, Illinois. Go ahead, Mitch.
Hi. I'd like to know, are you as intelligent as your material makes you out to be, or are you helped by your writers on that?
I'm completely propped up by writers. I am a mindless whore. I think John will agree with me. We're both.
I'm just happy to be out without my helmet on.
I know. All right, Johnny, what are you going to do now, man? I told you once, if you ever did get whapped, I remember talking to you, and I said, I cannot tell you how much better life is, how better life is on the other side of this thing, man. You carved out a niche for yourself. I'm telling you, over the last year, America's grown on you. I think you got that whole fourth thing happening. The young people like you, the old people want to like parent you. I think women want to lay you, and I think guys want to hang with you. So I see no problem with the career here, man. I think you really acquitted yourself admirably. What do you want to do?
I appreciate it. I was going to walk across America, but Forrest Gump already took care of that, so I don't really know. I'm stuck now. Well, but I've learned some things. You know, it's been a wonderful experience, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And if I've learned one thing, it's that it's really hard to sneak out a desktop computer past even the most incompetent of security guards. So I'll do what I can, and I appreciate you having me on. I
Listen,
really
I want to talk
show.
to you this week. Let's go out in the fall and do some dates together. Want to go do some stand-up?
I'm certainly available.
Let's go on the road and hang. Good to see you, John.
That'd
Jon
be great.
Stewart,
Thanks,
folks.
Dennis. Take care.
I find that cat so charming, man. I think it's our loss that he's off. Okay, let's go. First up on the big screen, 7-card stud. Loser has to go to New Hampshire and pretend he's friends with Clinton. Ivory and ivory. You know. You know, for Newt Gingrich, this is the closest he can come to the middle of the road. So I told the press, here, let's stop bickering and concentrate on our common enemy, the informed voter. Here we see a crackpot and a crackhead. Bob Dole was at an agriculture forum in Iowa this week to blame rising grain prices on the game show Wheel of Fortune. Democratic Senator John Breaux on the left rescued fellow Democrat Senator Jay Rockefeller after Rockefeller went down behind Republican lines for 6 days. Senator Jesse Helms introduced legislation this week prohibiting Detroit from making cars that take gas nozzles from behind. Well, unleaded sodomy joke there. That was Starship, 68 degrees and a chance of showers for the inland. Now back to more stimulating, devious, poisonous, homophobic race baiting on the Pat Buchanan Show. I said, what is the American Association of Retired Persons' annual budget? Your budget. How much? Each year, how much? How much does the AARP spend each year? Go, go, go. Get me the fuck out of here. Roadrunner. Vroom. American tourists celebrating the 74th anniversary of the Peace Arch between the state of Washington and the country of Canada stopped to say hello to a Royal Canadian Mountie. The Mountie took time out for photos and greetings and confiscated 23,000 pounds of rock cocaine. Here we see the members of the Navy's elite Silver Lariat Division, whose sole function is to restrain Senator Bob Packwood during Tailhook Week. And Leonard Nimoy made an appearance this week. In New Hampshire, Cato Kalin considered a presidential bid this week. Kalin said he's not sure if he's a Democrat or Republican, but added, quote, "I'm definitely not independent." Bailiff, bring Mr. Shapiro into the court. I'm sure it's a real Rolex, Bob. I just don't want to buy it from you, that's all. And Britain's top feline barrister joined the O.J. Simpson defense team on Thursday. Here we see solemn Mexican soldiers marching outside Tijuana's famed Arch of Triumph. Here, Mexican President Zedillo assures the Guatemalan president that it is impossible to be assassinated with the protective bar in place. Relax, Mother Teresa. His name's Bob Goldthwait. He's only going to do 10. Bella Lugosi. More John Tesh! More John Tesh! No, I'm sorry. The correct question is, who is Warren Christopher? Warren, pick again. Finally giving in to public demand, Imelda Marcos had her head examined this week. And on Wednesday night, for the first time in 2 years, Bruce Willis was not at a Planet Hollywood opening. A CBS executive warily attempts to serve the moose from Northern Exposure his cancellation notice. And the rock band Kiss is back on a stadium tour this summer. Anybody else want to shit on my tomato plants? Wednesday night on ABC, Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley broke their silence. Boy, Michael looks good with a beard, doesn't he? All I have is $1 and a dream. Here we see a secretly taken photo of Dick Clark removing his makeup. Hi, I'm Peter Panhandler. Give me $1. And finally, hey, Rocky, watch me pull an asshole out of my hat. Guess what, folks? That's the news. Good night.
NBC All Night. Now a classic episode of Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live will be delayed